I already told you, Mother, you're going to have to wait until this weekend. We were going to start carpooling. Remember? Because you said that Mother Earth was crying and we have to help because Mother Earth is depressed because I drive around too much. Well, we're all going to have to make sacrifices. I don't care for it either, especially when you take your shoes off in the car and then you want me to rub them, and I can't drive and change gears and rub your feet. It's just not safe. It, yes, ma'am. But Mother, I have to go. I am in a meeting right now. I am not a businessman. I am just in a meeting. I do not live a double life to the best of my knowledge. Now, we will talk about it later, but if you want to go to Rose's, you're going to have to wait till Saturday. That's my yard sale day. Okay, all right. Now, I have to go, Mother. I'm being stared at by a bunch of people, and I don't think it's appropriate that I'm on the phone anymore. Oh, all right. Bye. I do apologize for that. I did not mean to intrude. I was hoping to get that phone call over with before we got started. Have we started? Did you start without me? That's pretty common. Sometimes you have to start without me. Well, this is my first meeting. Yes, ma'am, but thank you. I'm not sure if I'm in the right place or not. The sign says this is the NDE support group. Is that for people that died for a little bit? Okay. Because I wasn't sure what NDE stood for, and I was sitting here trying to figure it out, and I thought maybe it was like needing dog energy or something, or near darn emphatic. I don't know what does that stand for? Does it stand for anything, or did y'all just pick some letters and think they look good together? Or is it like Scrabble? Near death experience. That is the perfect way to put it. And how convenient that it lines up with those letters. Did you notice that? Like N is for near, D is for death, and E is for experience. What a coincidence. Well, I'm definitely in the right place. I had an experience, and Mother said she was at the library, and the Facebook told her I needed to talk to somebody. She said I needed a head shrinker because I was insane. But then I found out about this group from the librarian. I think the librarian was just trying to get me to go away. She's very grouchy. I try to go in there and look at the internet for free, and then I try to go to these sites, and this big blue screen pops up, and then she comes shuffling over there and tells me to just go away. She said, "You just need to go away. You need to quit coming in here." And she sounds a lot like my mother, which makes me kind of pucker up, and then I just say, "Yes, ma'am," and I do whatever she says. So I don't remember where I was going with that, but somehow I ended up coming here. It was after she told me to. She wrote it down on a scrap of paper and shoved it in my hand, and then just sort of spun me halfway and sort of pushed me towards the door, and now I'm here. So, well, before we get started, I do have a question for y'all. And I don't mean to pry. Are those snacks back there, is that a bake sale, or can anybody just take some, or how does that work? It's free? Y'all have free food? How often do you meet? It'd be great if you met 3 times a day. Mother has she has discovered that gluten is evil, and she's removed all the gluten from the house, which apparently gluten, I wasn't sure what it was. Apparently it's tasty food, because now all I have are just little dried up bricks of, it's like pellets, like stuff you'd feed people going to space, and I don't know what it is, but I know it doesn't taste very happy to me. And I saw that y'all had donuts back there and little cakes that were individually wrapped. That's fancy. that's fancy. So who brings that? Is that like Santa Claus or? Well, if you take turns bringing snacks, I would be happy to help. I don't think you want a human kibble, but right now that's all I have at my home, and I'm kind of in between jobs right now. I'm looking for something in management. Do you need a manager for this meeting? Because I would love to take a job as a manager of the NDE, Indeed, NDE support group. Well, I guess it would make sense. It was all voluntary. How do y'all know to come here? Was it like telepathy, or did the librarian yell at you too? Were you trying to look at stuff on the internet that she did not care for? Well, oh, okay, well. Oh, that's nice. If they had something in the newspaper about it, I reckon that's okay too. I don't get the newspaper. I'm not rich. I can't afford the subscription. But Mother seems to not think I'm being totally truthful. So, yes, ma'am. I would be happy to tell you a little bit about myself. I see you have a nice group here. I won't take up all your time. I mean, I'm definitely not one of those people that just takes up all the time. They just sit and they talk and they just don't know when to quit. And I can't stand people like that. You just want to punch them in the throat. Not that I condone that. You just kind of want to. Either that or jump out the window. I am definitely not somebody to take up an entire meeting. Okay. Well, I did wonder about that. Okay, so 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes is a good amount of time, but you have quite a few people in here. That's interesting. Huh? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yes, ma'am. My name is Carl, and I live here in town. And you might say, do any of you do you recognize me? Do you have any idea who I am? I mean, maybe some of you. Oh, you must all be from out of town. You don't know. Well, that's okay. You don't have to know me. I'm a bit of a local celebrity myself. I helped stop a bank robber. I saved a woman in a grocery store. I got fired for it. I've worked in nearly every business establishment in Camden, and I have the most badges, name badges, from jobs of anybody I personally know. I have name badges from all over town. I even branched out a little bit to Nathanville, trying to broaden my horizons, and I have some badges from businesses there. Oh, yeah, yes, ma'am. Well, I did. I think I had a near-death experience, and Mother said I'm just delusional, but thinks she's just mad. She's been a little sore with me ever since the incident. She said, it's not fair. It's not fair. She gave $42 a week to Jimmy Swaggart for over 12 years, and she said if anybody should get to talk to Jesus, it's her because she's paid her dues. And I never sent Jimmy Swaggart a dime. I said, Mother, I was a child back when Jimmy Swaggart was taking everybody's money. What money did I have? You could have taken up bottles and sold them and given him money. You could have saved your allowance. I won't give Jimmy Swaggart my money. I saw how nice his suits were in his shiny TV show. He doesn't need my money. I think that's why Daddy left. She gave so much money to that preacher, and he got mad and just went off. Cut his losses, so to speak. Sometimes I wonder where he went. Well, I reckon I'll never know. I didn't get a chance to ask. The whole thing was just so overwhelming. I didn't even think to ask about that. I don't know that even Jesus would have an answer for that. So I don't know if y'all want to hear what happened, or are we just going to eat some donuts, or because I'm afraid if I talk too long, I'm going to cut into the donut eating time, and we don't want to leave them for the next group. I mean, not that I'm not generous, but they can bring their own dang snacks. That's how I feel about it. Do you have anything to drink back there? I did not spy any beverages. Oh, there's a cooler. I see it now. Yes, ma'am. I did not spot that. What's in the cooler, or do y'all know? I'll take a water bottle. Don't get it. I'll get it. I'll get it. I am an evolved man. You need to know that about me from the start. I am an evolved man now. I am currently single, and I don't look my age. You take that any way you want to. But I want to let you beautiful ladies know there's some lovely ladies in here that I am currently single and ready to mingle. We got New Year's coming up. If you need to go to a shindig and you need a partner to accompany you, I do know how to do the foxtrot. My mother made me learn it when I was 12, and then she had me enter a talent show, and she made me do the foxtrot. Only I didn't have a partner, so I just looked like I was having a seizure, and I didn't win. It was just confusing to the judges. But I am interested in finding a lovely young lady. That would be divine. I mean, that's of course not why we're here. But if it happens, you just say la vie. Say la vie. No, that's not do-si-do. The eye opener. What saying goes with that? When in Rome. No. Me casa su casa, that's what it is. You know, sometimes things just happen and you just me casa su casa. You just got to go along with it. Yeah. So, all right, what I do tend to go on a little bit. So we've established no one in here knows me. That's a shame. Well, in a way, it's a good thing, because that way, if there's a lovely lady in here who might want to go dine with me one night. Speaking of which, I am going to Taco Bell after this. If anyone is interested in like going Dutch on a meal, I got a coupon, and you don't get Taco Bell coupons very often. I happen to have one in my possession right now. I don't mean to brag, but I have one. It's a nice one too. I'm talking about a coupon. I'm not being dirty. Although it is nice. Oh, let me just stop right there. I need to quit. What? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm getting over a cold and I'm still a little foggy headed. Anyway, if anybody needs a date for the new year, you're going to a party, or you want to have a party, I am very party inclined. I like to mingle and have fun. I don't do too well with alcohol. And unfortunately, I cannot drive at night because of my night blindness. So you would have to be the driver, and I can't drink. You don't want to know why. It's not pleasant. I would not want to introduce you to that until we'd been out several times and had established a rapport, rebar. We had established our rebar, and then I could tell you about it. But okay, so do you want me to just get into it? I'm assuming you're like the leader. You seem very commanding. That's nice. I like that. I like a woman that can take charge and tell me what to do. And you have a little bit of a whine in your voice, and for some reason I find that so appealing. Do you have a particular boyfriend? I don't see a ring on your fingers anywhere. I'm sorry, that's very inappropriate. I do apologize. That was very untoward of me. Nobody has name tags on in here, so I don't know anybody's name. But like I said, my name is Carl. And I had an experience. So you want me to just jump into it? Okay. Well, I don't want to take up your time. Well, what happened now this was about a week ago. Is there a time limit? Do I have to have had it within a certain period of time, or do certain things have to happen, or are alien abductions included in the criteria for this group? Oh, I'm not saying I had an alien abduction. I mean, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? that, would you think that was weird if I said I had been abducted at some point by aliens, like maybe when I was about 14 in a cornfield? Would that freak y'all out? I'm using an example. That totally never happened to me because that's crazy. Just the near death NDE. Okay. Yes, I will shorten it to NDE. That will definitely keep things efficient. So the NDE. Okay, I just talked about that then. Well, about a week ago, I was hungry. Like you get hungry, and I wanted something to eat. And like I said, Mother had taken all the good food out of the house. I wasn't allowed to have much of anything. All the bread was gone, and she had replaced it with basically cardboard in a bag, and I didn't like it. And so I decided I was going to venture outside of the house, find me something to eat. And she frowned upon it. She said, "You don't do that. That gluten is the devil." She literally thinks it's Satan. "You can't eat gluten. It's the devil. You don't bring that in here." I said, "Mother, if I got anything, I would not bring it in here. I would consume it completely." So I got in the car and I just started driving. I thought, I don't know where to go anymore. I was out of my mind. I think I need gluten to function, and it had been a while. And my brain was starting to go through, like it was starting to atrophy, That means shrivel up like a raisin. I don't mean to use $5 words. They just come out every now and then, and I forget sometimes. People might know what the heck you're talking. They might not know what you're saying, Carl. You need to back up and slow down. My brain was shriveling from the lack of gluten, and I ended up at this gas station. And I went in there, and they had this it was like a Ferris wheel. It looked so festive. It was like a Ferris wheel of these little shriveled up hot dogs. And I thought, well, I like hot dogs. I wonder if I could have a hot dog. So I checked my pocket. I wanted to see. I wasn't going to steal it. I mean, I would never shove a hot dog down my pants. First of all, they look really hot, and it would probably hurt. But I don't steal. I don't steal. Well, I'm very strong on that. No stealing. I wanted to see how much money I had, and I checked my pocket. And I had $1.14 in my pocket. $1 and some change. And I looked at the price, and it said, reduced for quick sale. You could get 3 hot dogs and a bun for $1. And I said, I have enough for 3 hot dogs and the tax. I could even pay the tax and have 3. It'll be a feast. I can eat 3 hot dogs. Reduced for quick sale. What a coincidence. What a break. Normally they were 2 for $1, but they were trying to get rid of them. I reckon they'd been up there all day. And so I went ahead and I got my hot dogs, and the condiments were free. Condiments is not what it sounds like. I know it sounds like something free, I'm pointing down here because I don't want to say, because Mother said it's rude, but it's like mustard, ketchup, relish, all that stuff was free, and I about could make a salad on top of my little 3 for $1 hot dogs. And I put a whole bunch of relish, a whole bunch of mustard and ketchup, and I found some cracker packets. I crumbled them up on top of there, and I poured a little coffee in there because nobody was looking, and I needed some caffeine. And I got them, and I wrapped them up in paper, and I went up front and I paid for my hot dogs, and I had 7 cents left. And I stuck that in my pocket for later. I didn't buy anything else because I don't know if you've noticed, you can't buy anything for 7 cents anymore. It's a shame. And so I went out to the El Camino, and I sat on the tailgate, and I started eating my hot dog. And I got about halfway through the first one, and I started feeling kind of weird. I felt sweaty, and it wasn't hot. I mean, it's December. I didn't feel that it was appropriate to be sweating out there in the parking lot sitting on the tailgate eating a hot dog. And I thought, there's something wrong with me. I don't know. So I wrapped my hot dog back up, and I put them back in the bag, and I got in the car. I thought, let me just go home. I at least want to be at home. So I went home. and I snuck them in the house. I didn't want Mother to know that I had these hot dogs because she would just have a conniption fit over, because I'm sure there's gluten in there. I imagine anything that's 3 for $1 is just chock full of gluten, which was fine with me because, like I say, I felt like I kind of needed some. I was running low. Your tank get a little low, you start getting kind of squirrely. So I took them into my room, right, like I got drugs or something. I got them like tucked up under my jacket, and I just go running into my room. She's like, "What are you doing, Carl?" I said, "Nothing, Mother." And I went on in my room and shut the door. And I turned the music on. I got a boom box in there that I bought at Kmart back in 1987, and I turned it on. And it was Christmas music, and I remember it was that lady that sings real high, and she was singing that all she wanted for Christmas was me, and it made me feel good. I was kind of, getting depressed, but that made me feel better. But then I realized she was kind of insulting me with her song. I'm unwrapping my hot dog, the one I started when I started feeling sweaty, and I started to unwrap it, and I'm listening to her, and the lyrics occurred to me. I thought, you know what she's saying? She starts out saying, "I don't want a lot for Christmas." And then she said, "All she wants is me." Well, thank you very much, screechy lady. That's kind of rude. I don't want much. I just want you. Well, I don't like you either. So I changed the station to easy listening after that. But I finished the second half of the first hot dog. And I'm watching the door, and I'm looking under the crack to see if I see a shadow of Mother standing in the door. I didn't see anything. She was in there watching her stories, so I figured she probably wasn't going to worry about me too much. Days of Our Lives was on, and so I opened the second one, and I started to eat it. And I started feeling sweaty again, and I thought, now, I know I'm not sweaty in here. Mother is stingy with the heat. She keeps it set at about 52, and I thought, I know it's not hot in here. And my fingers started to feel tingly, and then they went numb, and then my feet went numb, and it's like slowly the numbness was spreading to the core of my body. I thought, I don't know how far I want this numbness to go. What if it's permanent? And I put the hot dog down because I felt like I couldn't hold it anymore. And I got up and I thought, I need help, but something's wrong with me. I am overcome with vapors or something. What is the matter? I didn't feel like myself, And so I got up and I went out in the hall and I said, "Mother," and I think I started to say something. I was going to make up an excuse because I was still trying to keep her from knowing about the gluten. And I just fell. I just face planted right on the floor in the hall. I just went kabam like that. And the only thing that saved my face was the fact that the bill of my hat was extra reinforced. And it kind of caught the brunt of it because I had it pulled down tight, And it caught the brunt and it saved my face a little bit, which was good. But at the time, I wasn't even worried about my face because I couldn't feel anything. And I don't remember her coming to me. I don't remember anything about what happened at that point. And the next thing I knew, there was this light all around me. It was like this bright light. It was the most beautiful light you ever saw. Did any of y'all experience a light? Oh, darn near everybody, okay. See, that reinforces my thought that something happened. So there was this bright light. Okay, that's that we got that in common. So how many of y'all ended up at Costco after you got through that tunnel with the light? Did you see a tunnel? Did you end up at Costco? Oh, well, I ended up at Costco, but it wasn't a typical Costco, and I knew I was in heaven because I got there and it wasn't crowded. And they didn't ask to see my card or anything because I don't have a Costco card. I was standing in the parking lot, so I'm out of the light, and I find myself standing in the parking lot, and I thought, why am I at Costco? How did I get here? And so there's this voice, like there's this big tall angel that instructed me and said, go to the door. And I said, I don't have a membership. And it just kept saying, go to the door. I said, all right, but they're not going to let me in. I don't have a card. You got to show them your card or they won't let you in. Go to the door like a broken record. Well, basically, I just wanted the angel to shut up because it wasn't like, you got nothing else to offer. Is this all you do? You just tell people to go to the door all day? That's a cushy job. Why can't I get one like that? I guess I'm not handsome enough. I don't look that good in wings either. And so I went to the door, and there was this beautiful woman standing there. She was gorgeous. She was drop dead because she looked like Farrah Fawcett. Might have been Farrah Fawcett. I don't know. Beautiful woman. And she had on like this long white toga looking thing. And she had this halo and these wings. And she smiled at me like she saw me. Women like Farrah Fawcett never see me. She smiled at me, and I looked behind myself because I figured somebody behind me. It was just me. It was just me. And she let me in, and she said, you need to go try the free samples. And I said, don't you want to see my card? And she just smiled, and she did this gesture, like this big, like that. I can't do it, but she did it better than me. She was graceful, and she just did it like that, you know. I went on in, and I knew something was wrong because there was nobody in there. Nobody hit me with a cart. There were no Yankee transplants in there. There was nobody. And I went in, and there was this long hallway, and I thought, that's weird. Where's all the random stacks of stuff and pallets of stuff I suddenly need really bad and didn't know before that I needed it at remarkable prices? But I went on down this long hallway, and there are all these samples. And the people manning the sample booths, they look like angels too. Everybody is so beautiful, and they have all of these things. And I get up to the first one, and it's these little cupcakes. And the man said, if you eat one of these cupcakes, you get to see your future. Do you want to see your future? I said, well, given how things have gone so far, I don't really know if I want to know what my future's going to be like. Can I refuse it? He said, it's your choice. Everything is your choice. You get to set your own fate, your own path. I said, I reckon I'm going to move on. I don't need to know what's coming for me. I started to know how Ebenezer Scrooge felt. This was very unnerving. And I will say, too, for the afterlife, did y'all notice that the passage of time was weird? Like it was totally different. It didn't pass like it does here. Yeah, it seems like that's something we all experienced, yes. Are y'all sure none of y'all ended up in Costco? Because anyway, I went on down, and the next one had hot dogs. I said, I want nothing to do with those hot dogs. And the lady behind the little booth said, oh no, these aren't like the hot dogs that killed you. I said, the hot dogs killed me? She said, yes, you're dead. I said, I am not. She said, do you think this is how Costco is? I said, I know this isn't how Costco is. I can get the stuff without anybody running me over with a cart that's as big as Rhode Island. And she just smiled and said, you should eat one of these hot dogs. I said, what happens if I eat the hot dog? She said, you can get out of here. And I said, well, I wouldn't mind getting out of here. Although I'm looking at these ladies in here, and there's some beautiful women in here. I wouldn't mind talking to them. And she cut me off right in the middle, and she said, Carl, they are not interested in you. And I said, now I know I'm not dead, because that's normal. That's Tuesday for me. Of course they're not interested. She said, don't be bitter. She told me, she said, don't be bitter. That's part of your problem. You're optimistic, but at the same time you're bitter, and it's a turn off to women. They don't like that. They don't want to see you all pursed up and mad. I said, okay. She said, you need to smile more. I said, I've told people that, and they get mad when I tell them that. She said, well, you need to smile more. I said, I'll try. Is it doing anything for you? I got my teeth capped. How's that? I figured if I'm going to be smiling more, I better show them something worth looking at. Is it doing is it getting your juices going? Is it making your motor? No. Dang angel. Angels just, they don't know either. They think they got all the answers. They don't know. I'm going back to being myself. So, I decided that Costco was not the place for me, and I have never. I've always kind of wondered if I needed a membership there, but I'm gonna tell you, after this experience, I decided I wasn't missing anything. So I picked up one of the hot dogs and I bit into it. And the instant I bit into it, I was suddenly transported to a whole other universe. I didn't have to move my feet or anything. It was like moving at the power of thought. And I was in this big meadow, this big, beautiful, beautiful meadow, and all these colors were more vibrant than anything I'd ever seen. And I realized I could see everything in detail. And I didn't have my glasses on. My glasses had disappeared. I had no glasses. Now, I can't see any better than a naked mole rat without my glasses on Earth. I hope that's not a turnoff. I'm just being honest. I can't see. I can't see. Without my glasses, you'd just be a very attractive blob. No offense. You would just be a shape. You know, like a blurry, attractive, blurry thing right there. But I could see, and I realized everything had its own thoughts, and I could like see the molecules of the trees, and you could hear them talking, and all the trees and the flowers and everything was talking to one another, and they were talking to me. And then here comes this man, and he's dark, and he has on this long robe and these sandals, and he comes up to me, and he's just beautiful, this beautiful man. And he comes up to me and he takes my hands and he said, "Carl, it's good to see you." And I said, "Oh, Lord." And he said, "You recognize me?" I said, I do. And I hugged his neck. I didn't know what else to do. I hugged him, and it was the most wonderful thing. And he sat me down in a chair and he said, "Carl, your time here, your time on earth is not done. You have to go back." And I said, "I don't want to go back. This place is beautiful. I want to be here forever." And he said, "Carl," he didn't sound like me. Jesus does not sound anything like me, but I can't do the Jesus voice. So he said, "Carl, you have to go back because you have a lot of important work to do. You have a lot to do." And I said, "Like what?" And he said, "Well, you didn't eat the first food that was offered to you, so you must not want to know." I said, "Well, I do now." And you know what? He literally said to me, "Tough cheese." Jesus said, "Tough cheese." I was in shock. I said, "Well, Lord, I don't want to go back. I don't want to deal with people anymore. This place is wonderful. I'll just go live in Costco forever." He said, "You can't live in Costco forever. People have tried on earth and you just can't do it. They won't let you. They will kick you out eventually." I said, "Dagnabbit." He told me to calm down, and he said, "I want you to remember that I love everyone, and everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." Any of y'all experience anything like that? None of y'all ended up in hell, did you? Because I kind of have a feeling if you went to hell, I probably shouldn't be sitting in here with you. Not that I think I'm better than you, because you can't help where you go. I mean, I ended up at Costco. Did anybody in here end up in Hades, in the bad place? Nobody. See, you would think just by chance at least one of y'all would have at least dipped a toe into hell. None of y'all. You think all of y'all ended up in heaven? So did you experience a meadow and the Lord and all that? Was he hateful and kind of snarky with you? Or is it just me? Yeah. I'm starting to think the Lord didn't really care for me all that much. But he said, "Carl, you are of my creation. You are the creation of my Father. And of course, we love you." And I swan, he rolled his eyes a little bit when he said that. I know he did. I saw it. Jesus rolled his eyes at me just a little bit, like he tried to hide it. But he didn't completely succeed. And I saw him roll his eyes at me. And he said, "Now you stay away from those gas station hot dogs." And I said, "Yes, sir, I will." He said, "Now you go on back and take care of your mother." I said, "Oh, Lord, mother." I said, "She's never going to believe I talked to you." And he said, "Well, son, that is your cross to bear." And the next thing I knew, I was sucked out of that world and everything kind of went dark. And I was pulled right out of that beautiful meadow and out of Jesus's presence. I think it was Jesus. It was either Jesus or this guy that worked at the surf shop down there. I went to this surf shop at Myrtle Beach this one time, and there was a man behind the counter looked just like him. He looked like Jesus, and I told him he looked like Jesus, and he said his name was Richie. I said, no, you're Jesus. He said, I am not. And then they kicked me out of the store because I wanted to take some of their little free buttons, and they said I could only have one. And I said, that's not fair because you got a whole basket full. Can't I have more? And so I had to leave, and I'm banned for life, but I wonder if they'd remember that if I went back, because that was 27 years ago. Anyway, so I was sucked out of the meadow and the beauty and everything. I was gone. The meadow was gone. Costco was gone. The samples were gone. That hot lady at the door was gone. And the next thing I knew, I was up in the house, in Mother's house. You know, she lives with me in her house. And I was floating up around the ceiling. I wasn't in my body, but I could see my body. And when I first looked down at my body, I didn't recognize it as my body. Did y'all look at your own body and go, what the heck is that? I got a really good look at my buttocks because I landed face down. And I said, I need to work out more. I need to do more lunges. Look at my butt. And before I could have another thought, I was just slammed back into my body, and it hurt. It hurt. It was like doing a belly flop at the pool. It was awful. It hurt so bad. And I felt my mother. She had come, and apparently all of this happened in the span of just a couple seconds. And she came, and she grabbed my shoulder and tried to turn me over, and she ended up hurting my shoulder. And so now I was mad about that. And she turned me over, and she said, Carl, what happened to you? And she thought it was that I was trying to do something to myself. I said, I wasn't doing anything. I just started feeling weird, and I came out of my room and collapsed, and I don't know. And she went in my room, and she saw those hot dogs on the bed, and she started yelling at me and telling me I deserved whatever I got for eating gas station hot dogs. And so then I tried to tell her mother, I got to tell you about the experience I just had. I just got to talk to Jesus. And she got so mad at me, like I said, because she went, I gave money to Jimmy Swaggart for years, and if anybody should talk to Jesus, it should be me. You don't get to talk to Jesus. I go first. And she was hurt. So I tried to tell her, I tried to explain what Mother looked like, or what Jesus looked like, and she just got more and more angry, and she was so mad, she went in there and ate the rest of my hot dogs. I thought she was doing it to punish me. She was trying to go see Jesus herself. Well, all it did was make her have some violent stomach issues, and she spent the rest of the day in the bathroom, but I don't think she ever got to see the Lord or anything. I think she was wishing she was dead, but I don't think it knocked her clean over to the other side like it did me. So she told me that I needed to, not eat those hot dogs anymore, and I said, well, Jesus already told me. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. She was mad. You quit talking about our Lord and Savior like that. I just told her what he told me. Don't eat gas station hot dogs. Anyway, so I ended up back here. I don't have any earth-shattering messages or anything except that we are all loved and it's going to be okay. I feel like that's kind of generic, like you go to the fair and you get a palm reading from one of these people and they just tell you just generic stuff that would apply to anybody. Like, no joke. I mean, duh. So do any of y'all have any specific stuff that happened to you? What do you mean? Are we out of time? Oh, does that mean we don't get to have donuts? I was really looking forward to some donuts. Of course, I got to eat them before I get home. I mean, I'm back on the no gluten thing. She bought some gluten-free donuts, and I'd rather be cast down into Hades than to eat another one of those. It was horrible. It tasted like if you took Big Bird and ground him up and mashed him into a circle. It was awful. I don't want that anymore. So, do we just go stand out in the hallway and eat our donuts for the next group to come in, or how does that work? Oh, well, I'll be happy to bring snacks next time. What should I bring? I have some crackers that might have expired that were up under the seat of my El Camino. I could brush them off. They might have some hair on them, but they're fine. I'll bring that, and maybe I can get some cups of water. There's a water fountain in the hall if I can find some cups. And I look forward to the next meeting, and maybe we could exchange numbers, and we could maybe, oh, I don't know, like you and you, if you want to. I could meet up with y'all separately, like maybe tonight I could take one of you lovely ladies to Taco Bell, like I was saying, and we could talk about your experience because you've already heard all about mine. And maybe we could compare notes and see who has the more interesting experience. Oh, I mean, well, if not tonight, we maybe could you go tonight or oh well, family's important. But I have to eat them, away from home. I would love to invite you to my home, but I have a situation, with mother, and she doesn't care for people that she thinks are crazy. And no offense, but if you tried to tell her that you died and came back to life, she might either think you were crazy or a zombie. And she's having enough trouble with me as it is, and I don't know if she can handle two people with these stories. So maybe this is just the wrong time. Our paths have crossed at the wrong point. But I will definitely be back next week. So is it the same time in the same place next week? Because I'm really interested to hear all of y'all's Jesus stories. Did y'all all see Jesus or... Oh. You didn't... Oh. Ooh, I don't know how Mother'd feel about that if you didn't see Jesus. No offense, but I think she would see that as a prerequisite to date me. And I just don't know if that would work. So it's probably for the best that you're busy right now and we can't go to Taco Bell. That's a shame. But thank you for listening to my story. I really hope that all of y'all stay alive. I mean, don't die anymore. I mean, I realize we all got to do it eventually, but don't go dying anymore. But if you do, you can come back and it'll give you some fresh materials. I mean, there's that if you want to look at the bright side. So thank you for listening to my story, and I look forward to seeing y'all again. It's been very nice having people to talk to. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.